Alright, so June is here, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is not one of those months where I'm sitting here going, I can't believe how stacked this is. It's not E3 season, the big publishers are mostly holding their cards, but here's the thing, June actually has some really interesting stuff if you know where to look. An RPG remake that the community has been waiting on for years, a Star Fox comeback on Switch 2, a tactical shooter expansion that could genuinely shake up the genre, and one game about doing Tony Hawk tricks with a train that I cannot stop thinking about. So here's top 10 counting down to number 1, a few bonus picks at the end. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off with number 10 is Dead or Alive 6 Last Round, and it's kicking off the list, releasing on June 25th on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This is the definitive re-release of Dead or Alive 6 bundled with its full DLC roster, which in DOA terms is a lot of content. The combat system is built around break blows and holds, momentum swings that can flip around completely off a single read. There's a focus on combo juggles and environmental bounces that gives fights this theatrical back and forth quality. It's flashier than Tekken, faster than Street Fighter, very much its own thing. It lands a 10 because it's a re-release, no new mechanics, no new story, but as a fighting game package for anyone who's missed it on last gen, it's legitimately a good one. Alright, now number 9 is Denshattack, which releases on June 17th on PS5, Xbox, Switch 2 and the PC. Imagine Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but the skateboard is a locomotive. Post-apocalyptic Japan, air is so bad, people live in domed cities. The tracks between them are abandoned and you're a stunt train operator running routes through that chaos. Yeah, I didn't believe I would be saying those words in the single line, but here we are. Grinding rails, hitting ramps, chaining tricks at absurd speed through these bespoke level set pieces, all while fighting off rival gangs who want the tracks for themselves. It's a wild Dreamcast energy. Basically nothing else looks like this right now. Score chasing games live or die by long-term dev, and that's what we're here to find out. But as a concept that simply should not exist and somehow does, Denshattack is one of the more interesting games on this list today. Alright, now number 8 we have Copa City, which lands on June 16th on PS5, Xbox and PC. And the pitch is pretty simple, build the city around the football. You're not just managing a squad or a stadium, you're developing the whole ecosystem, infrastructure, fan zones, public transport, commercial district, the full urban sprawl that grows up around a major club. The matchday experience changes depending on how you've built the city. Poor transport links and overcrowded districts makes the crowd almost feel bad about it, and so does the clubs. There's something genuinely compelling about the angle that Football Manager has never really touched. The worry with this genre hybrid is always the depth on both sides, but if Copa City commits to its systems, it could quietly be one of the more interesting games of the month. Football fans and City Sims fans, I really hope this is worth the look. And now we are up at number 7 with BrokenLore Follow, which releases on the 1st of the month on PS5, Xbox and PC. It's a dark narrative action game and the tone is more controlled than anything else I can compare it to. You're moving through brutalist layered environments that feel like they were built before the story started, documents on desks, symbols on walls, voices that don't quite match the space you're standing in. The action is there, but it's secondary. This is a game where the world itself is doing the storytelling. It's at 7 because Story First Games lives or dies entirely on their writing. If it delivers, this is one people are still talking about in December. If it doesn't, it disappears fast. Alright, and now number 6 we have Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. It's out on June 18th, which releases on the PS5, Xbox, Switch 2 and PC, and this one's the quiet one on the list that I think could generally surprise people. It's a narrative RPG with a handcrafted world that reads like someone crossed a sea of stars with a European storybook. The art direction is striking, not trying to be photorealistic, not trying to be retro pixel. It has its own visual language and it commits to it completely. What elevates it is the scope. This is not a 5-hour indie, this is a full RPG with a world built to be explored slowly. NPCs with actual schedules, side stories that feel like they matter, the kind of lore you can genuinely get lost in. Ambitious indie RPGs have a history of running out of steam when the story needs to deliver, but everything I've seen suggests the dev knew exactly what they were building. If you need a world to disappear into this month, put Elliot on your list. And now coming out to the mid of the list, we have Fatekeeper, which hits PC Early Access on June 2nd. Developed by a 13-person studio called Paraglacial, published by THQ Nordic. It's a first-person action RPG, dark fantasy, handcrafted world, ancient ruins, underground caverns, dense forests, crumbling sanctuaries. The combat is the centerpiece, reactive melee and magic, weighted and deliberate, closer to Dark Messiah than anything else in the genre. Build progression goes deep. You're choosing between raw strength, fast precision, or full sorcery builds, and the game supports all of them meaningfully. Exploration is rewarded too. Hidden lore, forgotten relics, encounters that aren't telegraphed. The world is literally built to be poked around in. The honest caveat, early access launches with around 2 hours of content. The full game targets 15 hours. After about 18 months of development, that's a real gap, and for some people, that's a reason to wait. But for a small team with a clear vision, the foundation looks worth watching. And now at number 4, we have Hell Let Loose Vietnam, releasing on June 18th on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. If you know Hell Let Loose, you already understand why this is number 4. It's a 50 versus 50 battles, no hand-holding, communication, or death. One of the most demanding and rewarding tactical shooters out there. Shifting the theater to Vietnam changes everything about how you play. You're out of the European fields and into dense jungle, asymmetric engagements, ambush warfares, night operations, you name it. The weapons, the terrain, the doctrine, it all forces a completely different approach than what the World War II setting asked of you. And visually, the environments look really incredible. There's a weight to the atmosphere that the trailers nail. Vietnam introduces a fundamentally different combat dynamic, and if the meta takes months to stabilize, early sessions could feel frustrating rather than strategic. For tactical shooter fans though, this is the expansion the community has been asking for. And now on the top 3, we have EA Sports UFC 6, which releases on June 19th, a PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Look, I have complicated feelings about this franchise. UFC 3 was genuinely brilliant. The striking system in the game was the best the series has ever had. Now UFC 4 came out, added some things, removed some things, and honestly felt like a lateral move at best. So going into UFC, the question that I would ask is, did they actually fix the right things? And for what we've seen, they kind of did. The ground game has been completely overhauled. Submissions now have a more interactive escape system. It's not just smashing buttons, it's reading your opponent's movement. Takedowns and sprawls feel heavier. The clinch has more options than it ever had. These are the exact parts of the game that the competitive community has been frustrated with for years, and EA has addressed them directly. The career mode is also getting attention. There's a narrative structure this time, a proper arc from prospect to champion instead of just climbing ranks in silence. Fighter AI is another one. Opponents apparently adapt to patterns now. If you keep going to the same combination, they start defending it. That alone changes the mid to late game significantly. And talking about the ultimate team, EA will be EA. The monetization side of the online modes tend to get more aggressive every year, and I'd love to be proven wrong about that. But on the gameplay side, everything I've seen suggests UFC 6 could be the best entry in the franchise. If you've never played the series, this might generally be where to start. And now number 2 is a very familiar face. It's Star Fox, and it's a Switch 2 exclusive, releasing on June 25th. I want to put this in context for a second. The last mainline Star Fox game was Star Fox Zero in 2016, and Zero was Devices is the polite world. The forced gyro control split the fan base hard, and the game never quite recovered from the first impression. Before that, Star Fox 64 from 1997, which is still to this day considered one of the greatest action arcade games Nintendo has ever made. So when Nintendo announces a new Star Fox built from scratch for Switch 2, the expectations are enormous. You're carrying almost 30 years of goodwill from one of the most beloved games in the company's history. From what Nintendo has shown, this is a proper return to what Star Fox actually is. Tight air-wing combat on rail sections with branching mission paths, the full team back, Falco, Slippy, Peppy, the banter is there, the set piece movements are there, and the visuals are doing things that the N64 version could only hint at. Nintendo has also been very deliberately cagey about certain parts of the game. They haven't shown everything, which usually means there's a layer to this that the marketing isn't revealing yet. There are strong hints to a multiplayer dogfight mode as well, and if that's executed properly with Switch 2's local wireless capabilities, the pressure on this game is real. If it doesn't live up to the Star Fox 64, it may be impossible for anything to live up, and that's what people might say loudly. But everything everything I've seen so far, looks like the team generally understands what made the original work. So on June 25th on the Switch 2, do a barrel roll. And now number 1 on the list, we have Gothic 1 Remake, which releases on June 5th on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X. And if you were PC gaming in the early 2000s, and I mean specifically that era when RPGs were still rough and unpolished and demanded patience, Gothic 1 is not just a game you've played, it's a game you remember. A specific feeling, I guess. You were dropped into a penal colony called the Ore Baron's Mine Camp Horinus, with no tutorial, no guidance, and no one who wanted to help you. The combat was awkward, the control was stiff, and the world was alive in a way that almost nothing else at the time came close to. NPCs had daily schedules, factions had real internal politics, the 3 camps, the Ore Baron's crew, the sect in the swamp, and the bandits further out, all had genuine ideologies and tensions between them. You didn't feel like the hero, you felt like someone trying to survive long enough to become relevant. THQ Nordic is remaking it fully rebuilt, and here's the thing, they're not softening it. The tone is there, the atmosphere is there, the penal colony, the factions, a slow climb from nobody to someone who matters, all of it, it's intact. The environments look stunning in a way that's faithful rather than sanitized. They kept the grey, they kept the mud, they kept the sense of a world that exists for its own reasons and doesn't care about you. The combat has been built from scratch, more responsive, more fluid, I would say, but the weight is still there. You're not supposed to win the early fights like how every Souls game begins with a boss that you can never get through. The game needs you to understand that before it gives you anything. The faction system has been expanded, the consequences of your choice reach further into the back half of the game than the original did. The original Gothic fanbase is one of the most passionately opinionated communities in PC gaming. They will notice every compromise, every accessibility decision, every moment where the remake chose smooth over faithful. If THQ Nordic got even a few of those calls wrong, the discourse is going to be loud. But the developers are fans. It shows in the details, it shows in what they chose to keep. So June 5th on PS5, Xbox and PC, this is my number 1 for June, and I think it has a real shot at being one of the RPG conversations of 2026. Alright, so if you're still here are 5 more bonus picks worth knowing about. Starting off with, we have Killer Bean. Killer Bean releases on June 8th on PC as an early access. Built by a single developer, Jeff Liu, the animator behind The Matrix Reloaded. You're an assassin, Coffee Bean, open world roguelike shooter, first and third person, bullet time, procedurally generated islands, vehicle combat. The community is comparing it to Max Payne meets Fear. For $15, that's the pitch worth taking seriously. And now bonus number 2, we have Witchspire, which is a dark fantasy tactical RPG releasing on June 10th, and it's on PC early access. Turn-based combat, roguelike structure, gothic atmosphere, the kind of game where every run teaches you something. If Darkest Dungeon scratched something for you, this is in that neighborhood. Another early access, so it's about Foundation right now, and the Foundation looks solid. And coming to bonus number 3, we have Solarpunk, which is the cleanser of the month, and it releases on June 8th, releasing on PS5, Xbox, Switch 2 and PC. A cozy city builder set in a lush, eco-futuristic world where the whole aesthetic is warmth and optimization. No crisis management, no invasion mechanics, just building something beautiful. After Hell Let Loose Vietnam, you might just need this. And now bonus number 4 is Voidling Bound, which releases on June 9th on PC via Steam and Epic. Consoles are confirmed for later, so it's a sci-fi creature collecting action RPG from ex-Skylander developers. You're a space wrangler taking direct third-person control of creatures, evolving them through branching gene paths to reclaim corrupted planets. Demos live on Steam and your progress carries into the full game. And now we have bonus number 5, and we've reached the end of the list. It's NBA The Run, which closes out on June 9th on PS5, Xbox and PC. This one's positioning itself as an arcade basketball experience, not a sim. Think NBA Street vibes, fast, flashy, less concerned with the nitty-gritties of the sport. If you've been burnt out on the 2K annual cycle, this might be the alternative you've been waiting for. So there you have it, that's June 2026 for game releases, and for me, Gothic 1 Remake is the clear number 1, and Denshattack might be the wild card of the month. I'll report back. What are you picking up? Drop it in the comments and I'll read them. Subscribe if you want more of this every month, and see you in July.